finally come to paint the monster chopper. We gotta take that whole pile of Duplicolor products over there and spray them all over this and get it all shiny so we can take it to SEMA. It's kind of funny, we're taking a motorcycle to SEMA. SEMA's a car show, but you know, it's got a lot of car parts on it, so we'll just go with that. This is Duplicolor Perfect Match color. It's called Gunmetal Metallic. It's a really nice metallic, dark gunmetal color. And that's what the whole frame's gonna be. That's kind of always been my vision for it, is sort of a dark gunmetal. And I think I'm gonna go with a matte finish or possibly just a kind of satiny finish. Tank/seat, fender. The bodywork, I'm gonna go with this, which is Duplicolor's Paint Shop Commander Green. And you can see there's a little spill on the side of the can here. That's pretty much exactly the same color as these wheels are. We've got bread spray, we've got clear coat, we've got self-etching primer, we've got filler primer, we've got all the good stuff we might need. I've really enjoyed the rusty look, but it's time for it to look refined. I'm trying to think of how best to disassemble this.
Ready?
Not how I wanted it to go exactly, but yeah, we left a little more rubber in there on the last test drive. Not near as much as before. Oh. It's so unpredictable which way this thing's gonna want to move. Man, I really like it when I build something where all of the bolts in a given system share the same size of head. You use one socket to remove a whole system. When I take things apart, I always like laying out all the parts on the ground to see how it looks. It's kind of appropriate to be taking this thing apart right now because I'm pretty sure it's almost exactly a year since I started building this. Late September last year that I started actually building it. Like, very appropriate. You just do the math. It only weighs 830 pounds. There's 200, there's 200, there's another 50. Like, the weight disappears quick. That brake rotor's got some nice tone to it, doesn't it? You're a music man. What note is that?
I think that's an E. We should figure out if we can check that somehow.
You may think with this new shop and all these new tools, like, we don't do stupid, weird, sketchy things, but
It's a hobby bike.
You ruin your obsession with hobby horses.
Oh, this is better than a hobby horse.
Concerning. No, but it feels like one of those rides outside of like a grocery store that you know, you put some quarters in and you can pretend to be riding a motorcycle or a horse. Oh, it's right there.
I was just waiting for you to walk over and find it.
Of course you were. I think it's probably closer to 30.
Oh.
It's 40.
What's this back one way?
Well, let's find out. It's basically the same.
Wow.
It hovered there around 38 for a second, so it is a little bit lighter. This is probably the singular most heavy and dense part of the bike because just that weighs 26 pounds without calipers or the rotor. All right, here, Steven, I'll hand you this. Now just pick up this tire and we'll weigh it.
Hold on, I gotta get the camera around my neck so I can...
How am I supposed to get any work done with you slobbering all over me, huh? start looking at every single part and remembering that I built all of them. No, I just mean like even all the little parts. Like, oh yeah, that just to hold the computer. This thing that is the steering arm that also has to be disassemblable with splines and just so many little bits and pieces. It's one of those little models that you get where they come with all the parts all like on their little grid of where they were molded and you have to like break them off and then assemble the model. But monster chopper version. Now that I have it all disassembled, I just have to go over it and make sure I have everything welded that needs to be welded. Well, there was more welds on that to do than I thought, which means we should weigh this thing.
Yeah, let's take guesses.
Chassis weighs.
That's probably 41. It feels just a little heavier than this.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 46. 46!
You nailed it on that one.
Yup. Send this off to be sandblasted, and before I paint it, I should do a couple little modifications. And one of them is I'm gonna plate this, make a gusset for the top of this side here, just because like most of the time there isn't really a side load on it, but there's just so much force on this whole thing all the time that it really wouldn't hurt to have a little more beef there. I'm gonna go ahead and design up a gusset for that. Yeah, that's gonna look real nice. Alrighty, let's see here. Conveniently, the golf cart is not in here right now. The old blasting cabinet.
And it still makes me sad to see this without its engine.
I know, we are very soon gonna have a new engine for this, I believe. So I've been told.
Okay, now you'll be able to see a little bit better.
Yeah, for about 30 seconds.
How can you even see in there?
If you put your face right up against it, it blocks the glare. And I can, you know, kind of, sort of see something vaguely related to what I'm doing. Look at that. Blasted with the sand. The seals on this thing are not what they once were. I'm getting a good bit of dust on myself.
Well, at least you're having a blast.
No! Dang. That thing's, it's actually working pretty good today.
It's definitely doing its job.
Yeah. These parts look like they've been primed.
Well, this stuff turned out cool.
Yeah. Shout out to Full Circle Powder Coating in Sandpoint. They blasted this up for us in like one day.
Yeah, they did this quick and it looks like they did a great job.
Oh yeah. Now I can actually see a bunch of little imperfections that were hidden by rust, so I'm hanging them up here, getting ready to paint and polish up the little bits and pieces and any little welds that I didn't realize needed to be done. Even though this has just been sandblasted, I've also just been putting my greasy hands all over it.
You're just about ready for that first coat of primer, huh?
Yeah, luckily this Duplicolor self-etching primer is green. Because let me tell you, spraying gray primer onto freshly sandblasted metal, you cannot tell if you've painted it or not.
I'm actually really excited to see this all pan out. I know everybody came to love the rusty look, but I can't wait to see this in that dark gunmetal color. Now I'm hitting it with a little bit of this Perfect Match filler primer, and let me tell you, it's doing a real nice job of filling in some of the little imperfections. Yeah, good stuff.
Places you can't even walk. You want to talk about an unstoppable machine. Some people build monster choppers, LS Humvees. Some people just put big batteries in a Chang-Li and call it good. Whoa. Places you can't even walk, man. Oh! Oh! Oh!
I don't think it's happening. Edwin's just pure passion for these machines is truly inspiring. Like, if I was that passionate about anything in life, I would be a winner.
Hop in, man. Let's go. Ah, dude, nothing brings a smile to the face like a Chang-Li. You know the other Chang-Li? I think we made it too good. It lost its character. It's like you don't buy a Shelby Cobra and put traction control in it, you know what I mean? Lose the character of the vehicle. See that one? It has Fox air shocks, solid axles, 10 times the power of this car on each axle.
Do you remember that day you like discovered it? We'd had it for a long time and then you just like discovered the Chang-Li again.
It was literally for months just sitting on the property. I was like, just not really realizing it. We're just busy with other stuff. And then one day I took it out for a trundle and I've never been the same ever since.
You actually haven't. This man has not been the same since he discovered the Chang-Li.
These are looking real nice. Just a few spots I gotta sand down that are a little rough. Also, this is one of my very first apples from my fruit trees out there. I've only been growing them for like 15 years. I haven't had much luck.
I got a little Steve-O-sized one right here.
Yeah. They are delicious though. If you're wondering why my voice sounds a little rough, it's because I had to go yell at my dogs. I had to intervene. They were actively murdering Bambi. They had him cornered in the creek and were drowning the poor little deer. I had to go just yell at them for a minute to get them to stop. Don't worry, Bambi survived, and the dogs are in trouble. Time to see what it looks like with our Perfect Match gunmetal metallic. I am excited! I just figured I'd give this a quick clear coat and see if it looks any different. Well, because that metallic paint, all the metal flecks, like they tend to fall onto the surfaces that you're not spraying actively. So then those surfaces end up being a lot less shiny. So this, I'm thinking, might make for a more uniform finish. So I was just about ready to start working on the gas tank and fender, and all the stuff I needed just showed up. We got some body filler, we got spreaders, and all sorts of fun new abrasives to try. I didn't get these exactly specifically for this, but I had it in mind. And this is kind of just like a Scotch-Brite-esque wheel that's very flexible. So it can do things like this. Get those all polished up. This one's great for removing the rust, but these flappy ones get all the little, you know, details and imperfections out of the metal itself. Well, that is sufficiently de-rusted and polished up. Just gotta clean it with some prep spray, and then I'm gonna hit it with that self-etching primer first, because that'll adhere best to the bare metal. I was thinking for some, you know, body work and sanding and stuff on that rear fender, I need some sort of thing to set it on that's, you know, round and soft, so I don't, you know, scratch all the primer off. Then I realized I have something that's exactly the right shape for that. In fact, higher. And now I have a workbench for it. So I decided I am going to do a little bit of body work to this. There's just a few little imperfections. This says that it's supposed to be mixed at 2% by weight. I realized we have the technology to do that. Zero that out, and we can place some on there, do some quick math, and then add exactly 2% weight. Shoot! This is gonna fill up the shop in a hurry. About new wrenches. We've been existing here at Grind Hard for 6.5 years with just whatever wrenches I had laying around. Dang, that's nice. Look at that. That right there is the most important thing you could possibly have in a shop. It's an entire rack. It's every type of 10mm you could want. Well, just sanding away here.
I think you're getting a pretty good finish.
Yeah, I mean, this is just the first coat. I'll do a couple.
Time to start in on filler on the tank here.
So when your filler's not all the way dry, and you want to get stuff done anyway, use one of these. It works great. It's just not very accurate, so it only really works for like roughing in stuff like this. Well, many coats of filler and even more many hours of sanding, and I'm still not done, but I'm getting close. The fender is ready for primer, and this, I probably have just a couple more little skim coats here and there. Getting close, getting close. Back at it again this morning. I'm just working on these things. As you can see from this horrendously hideous filler here, it's near impossible to spread it nicely in there, but you know, just slather it on and then sand it down. This little sander works really good for taking down the big, gnarly high spots. The last batch of filler.
Just one final batch, huh?
Yeah, a very small one. This is all looking really minty, but there's just a few little spots that need to be touched up.
I think I'm more excited to see the gas tank painted than the frame.
Yeah, I agree, because the frame, when I built it, it was all kind of the same color, and we had a pretty good idea of what it was going to look like. This, on the other hand, has never really been that way. Even when it was all fresh and brand new steel, there was still, you could see all the lines of where it was welded together and stuff.
Yeah, painting this is going to be like a brand new look.
I'm gonna hit these both with another coat of the self-etching primer, because I figure that's got the best adhesion. And then I'll hit it with a coat or two of scratch filler primer to get it all nice and smooth. Then do a quick sand with 400 grit sandpaper, and then we'll be ready to spray some color at it. I kind of forgot that I still had to paint this part, but that's okay, because I need something to do while that primer is drying. So, got it all cleaned up. The next question is, do we paint this part black or gunmetal? I think gunmetal, probably, because it's such a cool looking part. It'd be a shame for it to be kind of just hidden with black. So I'm gonna throw a last coat of this filler primer on this to try and fill in the last little imperfections here and there. I'm gonna get the old engine all degreased, and then put the new valve cover gaskets on it, and then start reassembling stuff. Just about ready ready to get working on this. And this new tool cart that we got is, I spent some of the weekend organizing and rearranging. Look at this, look at the top of this. All the sockets, all the ratchets, all the stuff you need. Whole rack of 10 millimeters. Screwdrivers, but check out the drawers. Hallelujah.
Wow.
We got metric, SAE. We got measurements and clamps. I'll probably do some rearranging. This is just what I came up with so far. Look at this. The pliers are no longer cancer. I also really like this impact rack on the side of it. You can put just about anything in there too. Those will go in there. Air tools, handy dandy little thing. It's amazing how much you can wash something and still have it be. I realized this sprocket is super rusty here, so while I have the engine out of the bike, I'm gonna go ahead and sandblast this and throw some old Duplicolor engine enamel at it. So this header should be, in theory, stainless steel, but when we took this thing to King of the Hammers, it encountered a lot of road salt, and it got rather crusty. So I'm gonna polish that up a little bit. That's more like it. So I just noticed this valve cover looks a little crusty here. Get it all fresh and tidy. We can't be disappointing anyone. Crust delicious. No, this is not food. No. Hey. Not food. I was pruning one of the trees yesterday, and I was dropping branches, and he was standing there, and like, I dropped some branches right next to him, and he didn't even look. Like most dogs would be like, oh gosh, something just fell out of the sky. He was just like, oh look, a new stick for me to chew on.
He kind of does live in his own little world.
He doesn't really have much survival instinct. Very nice, very nice. Dang, look at how much better that looks with just a few of these bits painted.
Super worth it.
Yep, I went ahead and painted both valve covers. And now that I've got all the oil drained out of this thing, and the valve cover's back on, maybe we are ready to put the engine in. Nobody knows what goes on in my brain. Yeah, so then we'll set the engine down on the ground and then just plop the frame on top of it. And then from there, we'll see if it's gonna be better to hang it or just assemble it on the ground and kind of build it up.
Oh man, this is already looking cool.
Luckily, this frame is really only connected here and here from side to side. So I've got this piece of all thread here with a couple of nuts and washers on it. I'm just gonna go ahead and spread the frame out a bit and then release it and see if it wants to stay. When I relieved all the pressure, it just went right back to where it had started. So I've got that bolt in there. I'm gonna see if by chance I can fit this on here at some weird angle. Yeah, that's looking good. Okay. Good. Yeah, I mean, last time I wasn't trying to keep the paint nice, so I didn't think as hard. I just kind of started doing it.
I remember some crowbars and pry bars.
Right,
involved.
there was a lot of, exactly, which doesn't work when you have paint, fresh paint, so I had to think a little harder this time. Hey, yo.
Did that just go?
Yeah, I mean, it's not perfectly aligned or anything, but it's in there. Whack everything with a hammer like I'm used to. That is all in and tightened. Torqued to the factory specified number of ugga-duggas. I might as well start with the big stuff, just to attach the swing arms. Delrin is so hard. You can clean it with a wire brush. You're not gonna believe this. I have brand new bolts for this. Right. I just remembered the fender's supposed to go on that one. I'll just leave it hooked up for now while I assemble everything else. I'll just pop it back off to get the fender on. Not everything happens in the correct order around here. Bolts were a little too tall and rubbed on the inside edge of the wheel and made a nice groove. So I'm gonna throw them in the lathe and turn them down a little bit, just knock the end down a smidgen. I'm also going to swap wheels with the other set that we have that do not have gouges in them. A couple thousandths of steel. There we go. Shaved about 1/8 of an inch off of there. Time to see if we removed a measurable amount of weight here. Yeah, 6.6 ounces. 6 ounces. We shaved off 0.6 ounces. Oh, wow. The little silly things I get excited about.
I actually do wonder how much weight the paint added.
It would be interesting to know, yes. If you weighed each aerosol bottle before and after, like that would be a ton of weight. But obviously, some of that evaporates and a lot of it's overspray. So yeah, it would be really interesting to know what the actual weight difference is. UPS just showed up with our super shiny new paint guns from Harbor Freight. They're highest end Black Widow paint sprayers. Apparently there's a couple different types. There's different styles. So this is an HVLP, high volume, low pressure for spraying base coats. And then there's also HTE. It's better for spraying clear coats. So anyway, I figured we might as well have both because we're probably going to be doing more painting in the future. And get started on spraying some color at those fenders, which is just a little handy dandy stand holding up the paint gun. This is probably what I'm most excited for, is to see these parts in color, especially after all the body work I did on this part. Like, it's gonna look nice. Alrighty, time to spray some primer. Obviously I already have those primed, but I'm gonna go ahead and prime them with the paint shop primer that matches the paint I'm throwing on, because it never hurts to have an extra coat of primer, and that way I'll get used to the gun before I spray the color. So it'll be good practice. I haven't sprayed with a gun in a long time. This is actually kind of a cool setup. These cups, they have like a screen built into the bottom of them, so you just fill it and then attach it and flip it upside down. It's kind of nice just having a one part ready to spray paint. It's very convenient. Oh. Interesting. Just doing a little wet sand with some 600 grit. Get it all smoothed back out before we do the finish coat. I might also do another coat of primer here, because you can see there's a few thin spots where I went through to the previous layer of primer. Once again, I'll start spraying on the underside of this fender, because it's the part no one will ever see. I'm gonna see what it looks like with the color on there. It'll be a little bit of experimentation to get all the settings right and whatnot, but that's why I'm starting on the bottom. Here we go. I like it. Actually, before I spray that, how about I set it upright again? Having these bolts in the bottom makes it really easy to move. Dang, that looks nice. So I'm supposed to do like a light coat to start with, which I don't know how light that is. I tend to go heavy on coats. But anyway, I'm gonna do a few coats on this, make it extra nice.
already got the second coat on this, and it's looking pretty good.
It looks like more of a razor than a motorcycle with just this.
Yeah.
It's like one half of a razor and then the other half on the other side.
Yep.
It really highlighted the welds and the pieces not being all. The rust is almost like camouflage.
Yep.
But this is like Pop City.
Once the gasket shows up, we'll pull that off and paint that too. Because I'll probably just paint it black because it'll match the valve covers and stuff. But
Yeah.
we can't have peeled paint on our engine at SEMA. The time has finally come to put our paint shop matte finish clear coat on the gas tank and the fender. Also, there was a nice windstorm last night and the power is out today. So I only have half the shop lights on to conserve our battery bank power. But luckily it's sunny, so it's also charging with the power of the sun.
Nice.
So kind of back and forth between finishing up the paint on the gas tank and fender and finishing assembly on this. So right now I'm putting this bearing in here and I put it onto the drive shaft first just so that would keep it aligned because it can go into the splines of the hub there. And then I'm just tapping it in with a punch here just a little bit at a time. It's not the best way, but it would be very, very difficult to get this into the press. So just use a 36mm socket. It's not a lot, but because if I pull it in too far, it'll just pull this through the bearing and not get the bearing in place, but a little bit of pressure doesn't hurt. Nice. Wow. I'm a little sore from that jet boat session yesterday.
I believe that.
Pulling it around, bouncing off of rocks. Things a little bit violent. Nice. Dang, that looks good, all painted up. I like that. So with all these various buffing tools and sanding drums, I sanded the paint off the inside of these so they'll actually go in. So they're a very snug fit. I even got some brand new Heim joints for these ends. The other ones were all crusty looking, and I think I also found some slightly higher quality ones. They're stainless steel for one, and two, you can see these ones. The whole thing is one piece of metal and it's just crimped onto the ball, whereas this one has like a pressed in insert, which I assume is probably better. looks so good all painted up. I'm now at a bit of a decision point here. So I had these slightly taller bar clamps, but they're not quite enough to clear the gas tank at full lock. So I ordered these, which are kind of a additional, you know, bar adjustment system. They get clamped in here, and then, you know, obviously they extend it height-wise, but they also make it so that you can lean it forward or whatever. But the question is, do I use the orange ones and the black extenders, or do I use the blackish ones so that it doesn't stand out as much, that it's got double extenders, you know what I mean?
I mean, I just lean towards the orange for that.
Yeah, we'll assemble it that way, and if I decide it looks dumb, then I'll do something else.
Also, I feel like people aren't going to come up to this bike and go, oh, look at that, double extenders. They're going to be like, looking at other things.
No. They're definitely going to see this and be like, wow, what an amateur. He didn't design it right.
Well, it is going to SEMA.
Which luckily is a car show, not a bike show. So they won't even know what they're looking at.
They're going to think this is half a car.
I mean, it's more like half of a very big truck. Unlike a normal motorcycle, this thing has alignment, and it has many, many places where that alignment can be adjusted. Oh, hopefully all my cables and stuff are long enough with those bar risers. See, what I'm trying to do here is this hits the frame right there, so I'm trying to make it not. Well, the power is back, which is good, because I need to use the lathe to make a new bung for this, or modify it. I'm gonna tap it for a... Don't you do that. Did you see that? The lights just flickered. I'm gonna tap it for this larger Heim joint. Not that I think I need it for strength or anything, but I designed this bracket for that originally, so it's the right width of Heim joint for that, and it looks better, and they're higher quality than the little 1/2-inch ones. So anyway, let's go drill and tap this out, and then do the same thing with this one, except also cut it off shorter. These brackets aren't 100% perfectly at the same angle, and I knew that when I made it, or after I welded it, I was like, oh shoot. You know how those spacers didn't fit on this one?
Oh.
This is a 12mm bolt, this is a 1/2-inch bolt. Just because of the fact that I did it at different times with different random bits that I found. It's crazy how much, look at that, that's almost 1/2 inch difference in the threads. You know, thread extension there. So, I need to put the brakes on, and then once I have the brakes on, I can put the wheels and tires on, and then we'll be able to be on its own weight again, at long last.
Their souls pass through the morning fog, and her eyes whisper words that her mouth cannot. Keen for the purpose of finding one thing.
So the rear brake line is really messed up, and I do actually have a little bit of extra brake line here. So I'll make a new line for the rear, because what happened to the rear one is I accidentally used it as a ground for welding. I had the clamp on one side and the welding on the other side of these rubber bushings. The only ground through there was the stainless steel of this brake line. And I didn't realize that, and it just melted it all down the housing is all just gooey and cooked and nasty looking. So time to remake this brake line, which is kind of a pain. These fittings are obnoxious. I don't know why I didn't get some of these years ago. They're not exactly expensive, but nice. These little guys. We might have to block this up a little bit. I can't actually push the brake all the way. Alrighty, brakes are bled, and now getting them bolted on, which means we're moments away from being able to put tires on this thing. If I can find anything. Time to get this beast back on its tires. I'm actually putting what was the rear tire on the front. I want to shave down the other tire to match with the planing method that I developed. So I'm gonna put that one on here, and then I'll put the one that was on the front on the rear. We can spin up that tire and I can plane it down. I'll probably have to have you stabilize the bike while I put the front tire on, and then once the tire's on, we can prop it up itself. Found all the lug nuts. Front wheel's on. Bolted on with all 6 lug nuts this time instead of just 2. Was it just 2 that we pulled off of there?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, because I originally put it on with 3 because I figured that's half the 6-bolt pattern, and for like testing purposes, ridiculously overkill for a motorcycle, right? And then somehow along the way, we ended up with only 2. Which is probably why the front wobbled so bad. Oh yeah, we got loads of clearance on these bolts now. I mean, we should, because I shaved them down a bunch, but no more scratchy. Dang! It's almost back together! I mean, there's a lot of little bits and pieces to go on, but it's getting there. Figure put the kickstand on next so we don't have to rely on this here jack. Nice! I realize this shaft for those sprockets needs to be just a little shorter. It just sticks out past the sprockets a little bit, so I can't clamp it tight. Hello, Bjorn. Are you a little robot? Little remote control doggo? Beep boop. This is his call him back when he's chasing after deer caller. And or don't go steal food from the neighbor's caller. Yeah. You can tell. Yeah. He'll tell you how he feels about it for sure. Oh no. Bjorn, what have you started? Bjorn gets all excited. Einstein hears Bjorn getting excited and thinks it's something to bark at. Bjorn hears Einstein barking and thinks there's something to bark at. And then it's just an endless cycle of dogs. I ordered some new parts for this fuel system because there was a few leaks in it. Probably the coolest thing I got is these, which is called a dry brake coupler, meaning that it shuts off on both sides when you separate it. And that's just because there's a lot of reasons that the gas tank has to come off on this, so it's nice to have a quick release. And I had these little cheapy $10 plastic ones, but they leaked and they broke and they were just not good. So we'll need that there, and then we'll need a straight. This is what I really got these cable cutters for, is cutting AN line. They're so much faster and better at cutting this stuff than any other device I've used. Some of these fittings were just, I mean, they're just cheap fittings, and this one specifically got all leaky. This is why it always takes so long to do a tear down paint and reassembly. It's because whenever I do, I always also rebuild and replace many components that were just not quite good enough, especially when we're preparing for something like SEMA. Although I guess if this was true SEMA fashion, I'd be doing this like 3 days before we had to be at SEMA or something. To help. No, you've come to slobber in my face and get in the way. Yes. Could you just back up a little bit? If you're not in between here, I could still give you pets. Of reassembling the chain tensioner, and I realized I hadn't painted this part. If it was aluminum or something, I could just leave it, but it's steel, so it'll rust. When I was ordering this new clutch cable, I ordered a little bit of bling for the chopper. I got this new shift lever, because the other one was all crusty and had holes drilled in it where I'd done stuff for the previous thing this was in. You know, plus a little bit of orange. Anyway, this was only a couple bucks, so I also got a nice little pop of orange for this magneto cover. Very nice, huh? The moment of revealing. Do the colors look good together? The answer is... oh.
That's nice.
Yes. Very nice. I'm gonna have to repaint these because they are considerably less green of a color. It looks great together, but also the level of gloss is different. Like this is a matte and this is more of a flat. But chef's kiss. Dang. That looks nice. I'm really surprised and pleased with how well these two colors go together. This gunmetal and green. It's not a color combo I would ever have thought of if I didn't have these wheels on it when I was building it. I don't know. I would have thought of like orange or, you know, just like black or a different color of gray or something, but I would not have thought of green, but it looks so good.
I forgot the battery even had a little orange on it.
Yeah, it does. Very conveniently. Believe it or not, that was not intentional. It was a happy accident. It's time to find out if the ghost of Chopper's past has become happy with us with rebuilding this. In other words, if this thing's electronical complications have solved themselves while it was sitting. We don't know. We're about to find out. If everyone will shut off that scooter.
You guys felt it?
Yeah, and I'm trying to listen to this thing to see if it's gonna work or not. Thanks. The gremlins have not left it. So, I anticipated this, or predicted, rather. This setup came with everything that the key applies to. So there's things we don't need, like the gas cap and the helmet latch. Effectively what this is a completely new immobilizer system because I messed up that other one. And yeah, you could like send it in and get it reprogrammed and stuff, but I don't think that would really work when it's all encased in epoxy. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of changing to the wiring to make this all fit. I wanted to get this before I painted the frame, but it didn't come in time, so now I have to try and figure out a place to mount this key where it's relatively inconspicuous and also can be bolted onto an existing location of some sort. Before I went and mounted all of this new ignition stuff, figured I'd better test it out, and it seems to make the right noise. That little whistly noise, that's the one we want to hear.
Yeah, that is a tight space, isn't it?
It is, and it's just a really weirdly shaped object to try and squeeze down in there. But yeah, something like that maybe.
I heard you getting excited over here.
This is the Changli 2.0, man. Look at this bad girl.
That thing is so much better than a Changli.
It's a 125cc Jeep that comes with a gas can and a full spare.
And it's bright red. Also,
Bright red.
do you remember SEMA 2019, how much time we spent sitting in one of those in front of the Go Power Sports booth? We were just, they had one of those out, it wasn't red, they didn't have red ones back then, they were just only camouflage, but they had one there and they're like the distributor or something for them, and we were sitting in that thing for hours just chilling while people were walking by. What blows my mind is that it's taken 5 years for us to buy one of those.
I know. It's ordered.
Are you gonna go 100 miles in this?
I gotta do more than that, dude. C90 to over 1,000.
Oh, Edwin, that's what you can drive to Alaska with the Humvee.
Yeah. Support vehicle. Just while we're here, we might as well just find the right size turbo for that bad girl.
Oh, yeah. Getting that gas tank bolted down. Man, that looks good. Oh, and I got the ignition all wired in properly with, and mounted here. And it works. All is good and right with the electronic ghosts in the machine. And we can finally take this lump of pain and misery and throw it where it belongs.
Yay! How many hours did you put into that?
Oh, I don't even want to know. Many days, probably. Could probably be measured in days, all because I decided I wanted to make it smaller. Curiosity got the better of me. I just wanted to know how it worked. But now we even have a spare key. And because it's orange, from my readings on all the forums, that means this key can be used to program new keys. Also, I got the shiny carbon fiber skid plate on. We bought that months ago when I was anticipating finishing this much sooner. But I didn't want to put it on until now because, everything else was crusty. From this side, you can barely see it, but there's that little hint of orange and black carbon fiber is very nice. Oh, also, I ordered this, well, if you can call it a muffler. Could almost fit my hand through there. I think it'll look good, but also, all I really want it to do is take the rasp out of it. And it does actually have packing in there between the two layers, not very much, but hopefully that'll make it, oh, hang on, we can do the old Ethan test. Ah!
119.
Ah!
100.
That's a noticeable difference. So I got the chain to like sit on the sprocket with a little bit of persuasion, but it does not want to. It's not quite tight enough to get the master link in. Also, this chain is wider and it's gonna run into that bolt a little bit.
Oh, shoot.
But only the nubbins will. It'll probably just self-clearance.
That's gotta work, right?
Well, it's a good chance anyway. Oh, you know, don't you start with that. Wow, how is that still so far apart?
Wow, you can see it move back and forth next to that bolt that it's gonna self-clearance against.
Yeah.
It moves a lot when you pinch them. It's definitely doing something.
Here, hold the pliers if you can. Push them out.
Oh, I think I'm off.
Yep.
Oh, yeah!
Nice.
Look at that.
Now, to get the other half of the master link on is probably also gonna be fun.
Thinking about grabbing a ground score?
Well, the Tesla's just been sitting here with flat tires and sadness, so I was thinking about borrowing some of these Diode Dynamics lights instead of just these random Chinese ones that somebody sent us.
Just getting the finishing touches locked in, and then she's off for her first finished photo shoot.
Oh yeah. I just noticed these handguards are all covered in bug guts, so I'm going to buff them out a little bit real quick. It's too dry, all the dust is just like static sticking to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this matte clear coat went on really nice. I'm very glad I stole these lights from the Tesla. They look so nice on here. The best part is they have hexagons. Look, there's little tiny hexagons on the back of them.
They really do have
So
a hexagon heatsink.
They actually fit the hexagonal aesthetic of this thing. I'm gonna have to take them apart and rotate the lenses 90 degrees because they're set up vertically right now. They have a lens on them that makes a beam and it's just pointing that way instead of this way. Basically finished. It's been a year, almost exactly.
And the Grindhard fans are awesome because you guys have been watching us build this for a year.
Exactly.
Which is why we were able to do it so nice.
Exactly. That's why I was able to put so much time into every little part because, you know. Man, here's a challenge for somebody who has way too much time on their hands. Try to count the hexagons in this thing. So that's going to go right about there. And then this piece I have cut is going to go, it's going to be welded onto the backside there. So I'm basically just remaking this Y shape here, but with a cap in it out of aluminum.
So you're gonna weld it and then drill the hole?
Yep. Yeah, that's the easiest way to do it, because then the tube is like a guide for the drill bit.
Oh yeah.
Also, we have like 2 perfectly good welding tables in the shop, but they're over there, and the welder's over here.
What are you gonna do? Classic, Bjorn. Classic, yep.
Bjorn, are you an angry little robot dog?
It's like the safest way to do it.
Yeah. Well, it's all really thin wall, so I can't exactly put it in a vise, or it'll crush it. That looks pretty good in there, huh? It even ended up unintentionally at a slight angle, which makes it much easier to...
Hey, look at that.
When I ordered these, I found these on, I don't know where, somewhere on the internet, super cheap. These filler necks, like just in line. And I ordered a couple of them. And I specifically ordered the silver ones because I thought, oh, I don't want them painted in case I need to weld to them. No, they painted them silver. Oh. It's aluminum, which naturally looks like this. Right? It doesn't really rust or corrode. I mean, it does eventually, but like over a very long period of time in a corrosive environment. So they went and painted it the same color as bare aluminum. So I had to grind the paint off anyway. Annoying! I thought this up this morning for a totally different reason. I put this bit in the die grinder. It's actually a end mill, a carbide end mill for the mill. I put it in here because I needed one that had cutters on the end of it to fine tune a little bit of carbon fiber. But it turns out it works incredibly well on aluminum. New bung welded on, the old one cut off and welded shut. Time to hit it with a little duplicolor engine enamel. Aluminum welding rod works great for painting parts. So I finished up the radiator hose project over here. It's all painted, installed, and looks way better than what it did before. So now, pretty much final step here, I'm gonna throw this muffler on, which we tested yesterday, and it quiets me down by almost 20 decibels, so that's a lot. If I put a splash of gasoline in it right now, we can hear it run with the muffler. Uh-oh, where?
Right here.
What the dickens? Oh, maybe that one's... Is it not tight, or is it leaking out of the fitting itself?
It's not leaking out
No,
of
it's
this
leaking
side.
out of the fitting itself. Look, right there.
Oh, that's lame.
And that's a brand new fitting. It wasn't loose, but it wasn't tight enough, apparently. It's gonna be spewing pretty good here for a second.
Just a nice amount of gas over
All right, there you go.
Fresh paint.
Well, luckily, it has been curing for like almost 2 weeks. So.
Yeah. If I cover this, it won't pour out as fast, right?
Yeah, slightly. All right, ready, set, go.
Hey! My hands make great seals.
Nice. It's still definitely loud, but it's not raspy.
It's exactly what you wanted.
Precisely. Yeah, so that I will say is a win.